You're listening to the Snob OS podcast, the podcast for Apple snobs. Hey, this is Nika Montfort, aka Tech Savvy Diva.
Yo, this is Terrence Gaines, aka Brother Tech.
And welcome to the Snob OS show, the show for Apple snobs, where we talk all things Apple and then some. Welcome back, everybody, to this week's show. First, before we get into the show's details, we want to take a quick moment to thank each of you for your continued support, whether you are a regular listener or whether you are one of our snobbists who are our Patreon supporters. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, you can head on over to patreon.com/snobwestcast. There you can sign up to become a snobist listener. You can watch the show live and live chat with us during the show. You can get some exclusive content, and you also get access to our Discord channel. And again, you can listen to our show not only through your normal podcast means, but Apple now has podcast.apple.com, where you can listen to Apple Podcasts and not even have an Apple device. With that, let's go ahead and jump into this week's show. We're going to kick it off with the Lowdown, where we talk all things Apple. And of course, all things Apple this week revolves around the Glowtime event that happened on Monday. We teased this last week that this event was coming. We also teased that we were going to be on DTNS. If you didn't get to check us out on DTNS on Monday, you can head on over and listen to that. Or you can listen to us today, where we give you a bit of a deep dive on the event. So this was Apple's big fall event. They announced some new products. They announced new Apple Watches. They announced new iPhones. And they announced new AirPod devices. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off. We're going to try and follow the flow that was actually in the Apple event. We're going to kick it off talking Apple Watch. So there was a new Apple Watch, technically two Apple Watches released, the Series 10, and there was an update to the Ultra 2. I will start with the Ultra 2 because it's pretty quick what they did over there on the Ultra 2. If you remember, Ultra 2 is the more rugged Apple Watch. When they first launched it, it was, for the outdoorswoman who could use this device. It has a bigger face. It has a little bit different design. It's more of a square face. Well, they now have the Ultra 2 in a new satin black finish. Get some new watch bands, and you also get a new maritime watch face. And the Ultra 2 starts at $799. You can order it now, and it will be available on September 20th. Now let's backtrack a little bit and talk Series 10. So Series 10, it's thinner, bigger display. It has a wider OLED screen. It has 3 colors in the aluminum finish, which is, it's probably, I say maybe the lower tier of the Series 10. Comes in 3 colors: rose gold, silver, and a brand new jet black, which has kind of like that satiny finish as well.
It's like a polished piano black.
Yes, very shiny. Mm-hmm. And so that's the aluminum version. Previously, the other version of the Apple Watch was stainless steel. Well, they've upgraded the stainless steel to what they call a polished grade 5 titanium that comes in 3 colors as well. A natural kind of finish, which is more like silvery, gold, and gray. Again, because this is a new thinner design Apple Watch Series 10, you get some upgraded loops and bracelets as well. A couple of things to highlight that come with the new device is gets a new S10 chip that has 4 core neural engines. Something people be happy about: battery charging. You can get 80% charge just in 30 minutes. One huge feature that they talked about was sleep apnea detection. People who have to wear the CPAP machines. This is going to basically, I guess, kind of replace that.
No, it won't replace it. There
It
are a
tells
lot
you
of
if you have sleep apnea.
right, based on your movements, based on the sounds that it picks up, it can over time give you insights on whether or not you may have sleep apnea or not. Now, of course, you're supposed to take that information. You can
To your
actually
doctor.
share it, right? Share it with your doctor and have them tell you. But there are a lot of people, present company included, who personally, I don't ask questions I don't want the answers to. My wife tells me I snore, but I have not went all the way to actually find out if I have
Do
sleep
a sleep
apnea or
study.
not. Even though my father, he has what's the thing with the breathing? COPD.
Yeah.
So, and I think on top of that, he has sleep apnea. So there, it's history, but I have not went to the doctor to say, hey, how do I test to find
Diagnose
out?
me.
Right. So, with this new watch, I may just let
Turn
it
that off.
do its thing
Oh,
and then just cross my fingers and just live with the results. But the reason why I would be willing to do that is because I've already got the technology on my wrist,
yeah.
as opposed to going and actually getting a test. I ain't going to get no test, but if I've already got the technology to do it, I
And it
guess
tells me.
I'll do it. Yeah.
So I will say the aluminum starts at $3.99. I think they are two sizes. The titanium, the polished grade 5 titanium, starts at $4.99. You can order them now, and they will be available for in-store purchase and shipping September 20th. So I said a lot, ran through it pretty quickly. So I want to kind of go back a little bit. Your thoughts on the Series 10 and the Ultra 2?
I like the fact that the Apple Watch 10 is 10% slimmer, but also with that new, what I think they call it, Edge OLED. I can't think of the actual name, but they've got a spectral technology, wide angle OLED. So that is going to give the appearance of it's going to give a little bit larger screen, larger as far as screen size is concerned, larger than the Apple Watch Ultra 2. And then if you buy the titanium Apple Watch 10 that comes with the cellular and Wi-Fi, that is the same price as the Apple Watch Ultra 2 in this new color. Which the reason why I didn't get an Apple Watch Ultra 2 last year was because it was the same gray color. So I was like, I'll just keep my watch.
And it had that ugly orange button on the side.
Well, it's still there. The orange button's still there.
The orange button's still there. Oh.
Even on the black one. But it's the that new black color. I forget the actual name of the black
satin
color.
I think it's just satin finish.
It says black titanium on the website.
Okay.
And it looks nice. But so I'm back and forth. I have actually pre-ordered the Apple Watch Series 10.
We're going to talk about that at the end. We're going to talk about that at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So getting to what stands out the most is that the Apple Watch Series 10 is bigger screen, longer battery, and it has that polished aluminum look for the entry level one, which sets it apart from the Apple Watch SE second generation that has that aluminum color. So you got the aluminum for the Apple Watch SE, you've got the polished aluminum for the Apple Watch Series 10, and then you have the black titanium for the Apple Watch Ultra 2. So they kind of separate themselves on the color and the finish. I definitely like the fact that with the added sensor for the sleep apnea, it seems like every release for the Apple Watch, we are looking for a new sensor, a new monitor, a new whatever the case may be. A year ago, we were all, is the Apple Watch going to get the blood glucose monitoring? It didn't get that, but it's got sleep apnea, which again is health-based. And sleep apnea is serious because, like I mentioned, yes, you actually stop breathing when you're
Yeah.
when you're sleeping, which and then the sleep apnea is you wake it, your body like jolting
Shakes
you
you
awake.
awake.
Right. And that's where that comes from. So you want to have a steady breathing throughout your whole sleep cycle or sleep routine so you don't die.
Right.
So while, I'm pretty sure everybody wanted blood pressure or blood glucose monitoring, this is a nice conciliatory prize. The fact that you can test for sleep apnea.
And let's also remind the folks that the Pulse Ox hardware is still on the device. Apple just can't use it because they're still in that lawsuit. What was the name of the company? I had it and it blinked. I think it started with the M.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I can't remember.
so it's a patent dispute, but the technology is still on the device because it was on the Series 9. Apple just had to turn it off while they are in that dispute. So in addition, we will get a watchOS 10 update. Has smarter smart stacks. You get it's a better photos app. You get the Translate app. Of course, because the watch face is bigger, it helps with the typing on the keyboard. If you're really doing a lot of that, which I don't think a lot of people are, especially when you can like voice to text.
Well, I do the scribble. So
Oh, you do?
I do the scribble. I don't actually use the keyboard on the Apple Watch. I actually scribble. So if I'm, somebody says something and I'm in an area to where don't want to respond verbally, I can scribble right, yes, no, okay, 5 minutes, whatever the case may be. So I actually do that, which is why I appreciate that the Apple Watch Series 10 does have a little bit larger screen real estate to do that.
Okay. Next up, AirPods. So the full AirPods line got a refresh. So every device in the AirPods line got something new. When I heard this, I was excited because, as I've said before, I've been wanting to get a pair of the over-the-ears, and I was waiting for Apple to do an update. So let's start off with AirPods 4. AirPods 4, they get a new H2 chip. You get spatial audio now on the AirPods. This is just the non-pro version. This is just the AirPods 4. You can click on the stem. I'm not sure if you can see it. It allows you to pause music and answer calls. The case, which is very similar to this one, has USB-C now and has a 30-hour battery life. This is a very interesting feature of the base model AirPods. You can now get them with active noise cancellation, transparency, and adaptive audio and conversation awareness. This is the big thing because typically previously the AirPods Pro were the only in-ear that you got the noise cancellation with. Also, the case on the AirPods 4, again, the base model, you can use the Apple Watch charger or the Qi charger, and the case also has Find My speaker. I lose my things all the time, but now I can get a little ding to find them. And now that is coming to AirPods Pro. You can order them now. They're available September 20th. The price starts at $129, and you can get the active noise cancellation version for $179. Next up, AirPods Pro. So there's no new hardware for the AirPods Pro. There is only software updates, but these software updates are pretty huge. Primarily, this new health feature called hearing protection is on by default, and you can do an actual doctor grade certified hearing test. And you basically will, when you hear the tones, you'll tap to, indicate that you hear the tones. And the AirPods Pro can be used as clinical grade hearing aids after you do this 5-minute test. It works on all sound sources, external and connected. So the thing with the AirPods Pro It has to have FDA clearance, obviously, because if they're saying they can do doctor grade hearing tests and the device itself can be clinical grade hearing, there's some FDA clearance that is still pending. And they're expecting this to come this fall, maybe October-ish, when we're expecting some other things, in 100+ regions. All right. Finally, AirPod Pro Max. What I was looking forward to, no new hardware design. You get two things with the new AirPods Pro. New colors that come in purple, blue, midnight, starlight, and orange. And it also gets a USB-C charging port. Price starts at $549. You can order now. They are available September 20th. So I think with the AirPods Max, I think all Apple devices now are on USB-C. So taking it back to the beginning, AirPods Pro, what do you think?
The only reason why Apple has the AirPods Max is when you compare the features between the AirPods 4, the AirPods Pro 2, and the AirPods Max. The AirPods Max, according to the spec sheet, is the inferior device to specifically the AirPods Pro 2. There's only the H1 chip in the AirPods Max versus the AirPods Pro 2, and the AirPods 4 have this H2 chip, which is, I mean, if we're going chronologically, 2 is better than 1, right?
Right.
AirPods Max does not have conversation awareness versus the AirPods Pro 2. AirPods 4 does. And what conversation awareness is, you can have on noise cancellation and active noise cancellation, but when you start to speak, the AirPods will recognize that and will turn on transparency and turn down the audio so you can talk. Once it's recognized you stop talking, it'll crank everything back up. AirPods Max don't have that. AirPods Max does not have the hearing test that the new AirPods Pro 2, which is getting over a software update. You don't have to get new hardware. Once the new thing rolls out, you get the update, and now you have clinical grade hearing aids, technically.
And I will say some people already, I saw someone post on Twitter, they have the update already. I was like, ooh, let me check mine. I don't have it yet, but there are some people who have it already.
Right. The only benefit that the AirPods Max have over the AirPods Pro and AirPods 4 is battery life. There's up to 20 hours of listening on the AirPods Max versus 6 and 5, respectively, for the AirPods Pro 2 and the AirPods 4. The only reason why the AirPods Max is a product still is because, comparatively speaking, it is inferior to these AirPods, but on par with some of the other over-the-ear headphones. Bose, Sony, Sonos, they all have the same type of features. Yeah. So while we can look at the AirPods Max and say, why do they still have that? Because clearly
there's a market for it.
You can get clearly you can get the AirPods Pro 2 for half the price.
Yeah.
And get a better product that is not cumbersome, and you don't have to carry it around as much. You can shove the AirPods Pro or the AirPods in your pocket. You can barely see them, if they're in your ear, versus the AirPods Max. They stand out. Thieves are snatching them off your head.
Snatch them. We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Right. So you add all that up and it's like, why does Apple even make these? Well, because there are people out there who are looking for over-the-ear active noise cancellation headphones, and people will pay a pretty penny for them. So Apple's like, all right.
And they don't need all the doodads. Yeah, right. They don't need all the extra doodads. They just want something over the ear, noise cancellation. They can take to the gym or watch in their home theater. And they don't have to worry about, for me, you see me all the time kind of popping them back in. I have small ears. And so even though I have the smallest tip on them, they still kind of pop out. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I want to get them. I wanted to get something that could disconnect me a little bit from my devices, especially if I'm working out or going for a walk or just need a little bit of peace and quiet to kind of tune things out. That's kind of why I originally wanted them. I don't know if I'm going to get them. Well, we'll talk about that later. But I did want to talk about something that I found very interesting with the new AirPods 4. The gap for AirPods, the standard, and AirPods Pro is shrinking.
Yeah.
There's obviously there's a difference,
Sure.
but there's very little difference now. And if you compare the AirPods Pro that have the noise cancellation, you're saving, just under $100. What, it's like $80. It's $179 for the AirPods Pro 4 with the noise cancellation, and it's basically $250 for the AirPods Pro 2. I did want to get your thoughts on the shrinking gap between the standard and the Pro. They look very similar.
It's shrinking.
And that has some of the similar features.
Yeah, it's shrinking, but there's still a clear difference, specifically with the noise cancellation. The reason why the AirPods Pro 2 noise cancellation is going to be the best, because it does have those soft tips that fit snug in your ear, and the sound, whether it be blocking sound from the outside or playing music or whatever you listen to directly in your ear, it's a straight shot, for lack of a better term. I know that's not scientific, but it's a straight shot, the sound going into your ear with the soft tip versus the hard tip with the AirPods 4. Now they do active noise. They have active noise cancellation and the adaptive audio and the transparency mode, but it's not going to be the same. I would almost say it would be night and day for when you're using the AirPods 4 with the active noise cancellation and the AirPods Pro 2 with the active noise cancellation, because of that tighter,
the seal.
Yes, exactly. The tighter seal, which is why with the AirPods Pro 2, they can double as hearing aids because of that tight seal. And that is the only one on the market that lets you do that hearing test, which is what I suspect Apple was like, all right, how do we differentiate between the AirPods 4 and the AirPods Pro 2? Oh, we'll set up this hearing test to where you can actually go in and, for lack of a better term, test your hearing. That's going to be the differentiator. So while the look is the same, while the features are close, you can definitely say, all right, active noise cancellation, hearing test. Those are the two reasons why I'm going to get the AirPods Pro 2.
Okay. Next up, piece de resistance of the whole event, the new iPhone that was announced, which is the iPhone 16. We're now on the 16th-ish version of the iPhone. iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Plus, and iPhone 16 Pro and iPhone 16 Pro Max. We're going to start with the standard first, which is iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Plus. Comes in some great new colors. People are really excited about that. I saw a couple people that are like, for the Barbie girls, we got our hot pink, back. We're in it. So the new colors are pink, ultramarine, white, black, and teal. Another new thing, the display. 6.1 inches for the 16, 6.7 inches for the Plus. Another thing, because these phones will be able to have Apple Intelligence, got a new chip. The A18 chip is 2 times faster, has a neural engine in it. And one of the new features that people are buzzing a little bit about, we know Apple doesn't like a lot of newfangled things on their actual devices, but a new button, well, they won't call it a button, a new
camera control,
which is basically a haptic feedback. It does have the overlay of the phone, so it has the same color. It just has an overlay over it, and basically this is a one-click and slide finger to adjust features on your camera. So instead of having to touch your screen to make adjustments to your camera, you will be able to use this camera click to toggle through zooming or aperture or the different features of the camera. You will have access to intelligence features. So Apple announced like camera intelligence and visual intelligence. This camera control is in the visual intelligence part of the whole intelligence, I guess, ecosystem now, because it's multiple things in the intelligence space. Also, click and hold the camera to control a visual search. That part is coming later this year. So a new button-ish, button-like, button light.
It's a button. It's a button.
They didn't call it a button. They were really, again, Apple doesn't like all these newfangled things, cluttering their devices. So they would not call it a button, but it's a button. Also coming to iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Pro, spatial capture for both video and photos, which was previously reserved for the Pro line. You can share live video with 911 dispatcher. You also get emergency SOS on the new 16 Plus, which again was a Pro feature. You can send and receive messages and tap back via the satellite, which is on the emergency SOS as well. iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Plus starts at $799 and $899 for the Plus. The storage options start at 128 gigabytes. Slide on over to the Pro line. iPhone 16 Pro, iPhone 16 Pro Max comes in 4 finishes: black, white, neutral, desert, which is the brown everyone was talking about. Looks more gold to me. And it's finally a gold that matches my Apple Watch. So pleased about that. Another thing about the Pro line, the display gets a bit of an upgrade, a little bit more of a differentiator between the 16 and the 16 Plus. The Pro now starts at 6.3 inches. The Pro Max starts at 6.9 inches. Still the A18 chip was on the 15 Pro line. Now you get a A18 Pro chip. 16-core Neural Engine, 17% increase in memory and bandwidth, and a 6-core GPU. You also get the camera control, haptic button, not button, a new 48 megapixel wide ultra camera, ProRes video recording, fast USB 3 speeds with faster USB with 3 speeds. You get audio mix, which basically allows you to isolate up to 3 people talking from background elements. Voice memo gets an upgrade as well. It allows you to basically layer 2 tracks in voice memo while you are talking into it. So the announcement was more catered towards people who are into music. If you're, humming, you're coming up with a new song or whatever, you have a beat, say, you want to practice over or try some new things out, you can now both have both of those in your memos, in your voice memos. MagSafe gets updated as well. You get 2, there are now cases that have the camera controls in them. Again, this is the new button. And you get faster charging, and you also get a Qi 2 charging. Starts at $199 and 128 gigabits for the Pro. Starts at basically $1,200 and 256 gigabits for the Pro Max. Again, lots said there. Let's get your thoughts on the 2 new devices. Well, 4.
I appreciate that Apple has made the bezels smaller on the Pro and the Pro Max. So therefore you do get bigger screen. Those would be the devices, most likely the Pro Max be the one I'm interested in. I keep telling myself I'm going to get better at taking photos, but I never do. This time is different.
This time is different.
I'm going to make a concerted effort to take some classes or watch some YouTube or something to where I can maximize the camera capabilities of the Pro Max, because I severely feel like I'm not doing it justice. I can appreciate the fact that Apple added the newer A18 and A18 Pro chip in all of the lines of the latest devices. So that means all the devices can get the Apple Intelligence. So that in and of itself, which won't be out until the fall, but Apple did mention it at the show, at the event. So people who are buying a 16, regardless of which one, will be able to get the new Apple Intelligence. Plus, the people from last year who've got a 15 Pro, 15 Pro Max, they get the Apple Intelligence as well. So Apple is really like, all right, we're going to make the newer line phones close. And there are going to be some differences. The colors are going to be different. Screens are going to be different. Battery's going to be different. Camera's going to be different. But that's it. There's no gotcha new feature that only the Pro and the Pro Max get that is not available on the other ones. It's just like, all right, do you want a better camera? Do you want nicer colors? You know, do you want to spend more money or do you want to get one? Those are like the answers, but that's not specific to Apple. That's specific general to everything. You know, you choose colors or you choose performance or whatever the case may be. Which again leads into the idea of all the devices getting that camera control. Again, with that camera control, I really want to say, all right, let me see if I can play with some photography a little bit better, since I can quickly access, because the way you get to those features on the older phones, you got to jump through menus. You know, you got to click this and then click this and then click this and then click that to get to the right one. So where it's like, forget it. I just want to focus, take the picture, right? So now with this camera control, I have quicker access to some of those features. I may want to mess with the aperture. I don't know what that means, but I want to mess with it. You know, the different zooms and, you know, all the different lenses, you know, I want to mess with that. You know, there's some of them, what is aperture and what are some of those features on the cameras that they be going through?
Well, the filters that they have, and also like if you want to do like portrait or panorama or standard, you can get everything within the camera that you would normally control by swiping the bottom of the screen with the camera open.
Right,
You'll basically be able to do that. Yeah, you'll be able to do that with this camera control.
Yeah, with the aperture and the focus and the exposure and the brightness, you know, all those little features that I just let the camera do what it's going to do, you know.
Whatever the default is, that's what I'm taking the picture with.
Yeah, I could see people trying that more with that actual dedicated button.
And especially when it was highlighted during the Apple announcement, they showed that The Weeknd, the artist, they basically shot his new video on these new iPhone Pro phones, and showed, you know, how good it is and how you can easily, you know, navigate between the different functions to capture what you would in a music video. And again, I'll point out the same as I did with the AirPod line. The gap is getting smaller between all of these devices. You mentioned basically the four things that are different between the standard line and the Pro line. And, you know, there are differences, but to me at this point, they're kind of nominal. I think probably the biggest thing is the camera. You get telephoto lens with the Pro line, and you get a 5-time optical zoom with the that's the difference. So
with the Pro, they do give you some extra camera features.
Yeah,
like one of the things,
it's like 3 cameras or 4 cameras instead of like 2. Or
well, it's the same 3 cameras. With the 16 and the 16 Plus, they just put them in the straight horizontal or vertical array versus them being catty cornered in that big square. But with the Pros and the Pro Max, they do give you that 4K 120 frames per second in slow motion.
They highlighted that a lot in the announcement as well.
Right. And that's the only thing that you can do specifically on the Pro and the Pro Max. So again, if I'm spending $1,100-$1,200 on a phone, you know, I definitely want to, you know, see if I can maximize, get my money's worth.
Right. So that is it on the hardware side. We're going to talk a little bit of software because there are new iOSs that are coming out. You know, we got new phones, we got new watches. We didn't get new iPads or new Macs, but there are new OSs that are coming out. And they specifically said iOS 18 is going to be available September 16th. If history repeats itself, the other OS updates will be available as well. Say watchOS as well. So be on the lookout for the OS updates the beginning of next week. That is, the beginning
Monday.
of next week, Monday. The other thing, iOS 18, the one that's being released, it does not include Apple Intelligence.
Nope.
I think that's key to point out because people were, are thinking, oh, I get the new AI phone. You get the phone, not necessarily the functionality just yet. So Apple Intelligence is pretty much basically the same that we covered when we talked WWDC. All of that is still there. The features that were described, things that were laid out, still there. But the difference is the beta is going to launch in October for US and local US English and localized English, and coming in December. And Chinese, French, Japanese, Spanish are all coming next year. So the expectation that Apple Intelligence will come later this year. If the beta is coming out in October, I'm going to say we may not see the 18.1, which will have Apple Intelligence. We may not see it until November.
Yeah, which is a little bit of a bummer, but you with anything, especially with AI, with so much, polarizing opinions on it, Apple does want to make sure they're on the right side of history. So they're like, we'll push it back because we don't want to rush this because, I've been watching some of the first impressions YouTube videos and people are they are not biased, but you can tell you can tell that a YouTuber tech reviewer wants to make sure that they are not showing their biased by taking like little nitpicky shots at Apple. And one of the nitpicky shots that they're taking at Apple is, well, they announced Apple Intelligence, but it won't be available. So they're kind of selling you on the hardware and promising the software later. And it's like, yeah, because if it don't, damned if they
release it and it doesn't work, they're gonna just blow that up even bigger.
They're gonna blow that up.
And I think Samsung even took some shots as well.
I mean, I expect them to do
that. So it's one of those things where I would love to have it now, but I would love to have it in the best possible state. And if that's going to take a little bit longer, then
I mean, I'm bummed. I ain't gonna front. I definitely.
I wish I had it. I want it.
This time, when I get my new phone, I want to be able to sit there and like play with Apple Intelligence all day long on top of having new hardware. But at the same time, it's like, people are chewing up. We haven't decided on AI yet.
Yeah.
So, Apple's like, all right, we didn't let y'all do your thing. So we're going to slowly let this thing go and see what people want, what people don't,
especially with the integration of ChatGPT, and we know how polarizing ChatGPT is,
right?
And they name checked them during WWDC, so
So it's just like, yes, I definitely would have wanted it, but I get it. I ain't tripping, But again, like I said, these first impressions, it's like they want to show their viewers that they are non-biased. But the shots that they take to show that they are non-biased is so ticky-tacky. So Apple will continue to give them the devices for review and continue to invite them to the events. So it's like they're like treading this fine line because of, let me take some shots at Apple, but let me not take a serious enough shot to where
I don't get any access. I lose the access.
Right. So it's like, all right, man, just come on, man. Stuff that they were saying, it's just like, yes, you can make that argument, but you saying it like you like people need to not buy the iPhone 16 because Apple Intelligence ain't coming out, as an official version until who knows when. It's like, come on, man, come on.
You know what it is. And we already can start putting our mind together when the people get the new phones, breaking it. Ooh, if I put it in my pocket, it bends, doing their typical shtick, which of course, if you put a very thin device in your back pocket and sit down, or you forcibly try to bend it, then it's still material. It's not indestructible. It's not vibranium. It's going to bend, friends, because
And then
that's what materials do.
and then that new button,
Yeah.
they're gonna chew that up to shreds because it doesn't do
Yeah.
exactly the natural feeling of doing this and that and the
It
third.
doesn't fit the groove of my individual
Yeah.
finger. Yeah,
Which
no,
I
get out of
mean,
here.
it's a new product. Of
Yeah.
course, we expect, it to be,
Put it
kind
through
of
the ringer. Yeah,
right,
do the
right.
things. Yeah.
You stumble through it until you
Yeah.
finally get something. But it's just like, I don't know. And so this is the point that I was going to get at.
Mhm.
Apple at this moment in time probably needs to start to tone down their Apple events. And what I
So
mean by
that leads us right into the next thing.
okay,
Thoughts for the event
okay,
overall.
yes.
What do you get it?
So, full disclosure, when the Apple event went live, I was not watching it. I was totally off in space doing something totally different to where I missed the Apple event live. Now I went back and watched it, and just based on how they do the event and how they talk about their products, which you want to, as the company representing the products, you want to talk up your products because you want to
Right.
create that buzz, yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that while Apple did announce new features, new devices, whatever, like you mentioned it multiple times, the window or the differentiator in between the products that they just announced and the differentiator between last year's products or last season's or last whatever is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
And so much so, I'll cut in that iPhone 15 and iPhone 13 have officially been discontinued.
Right. Because the reason why they discontinue them is because there ain't that much of a difference between them, right? People know that. People expect that. Like I mentioned with the YouTubers, they make it a point to let you know that this year's device is to them no different than last year's device.
Yep.
You add that up.
Why do you need to buy another one? It's the
Right.
same thing. They just changed the colors.
Right. So you add that up with the fact that you can make that case nowadays. I think Apple needs to say, all right, not press release, but at the same time, they bring out all the different people that work for Apple to talk about them. They do the ad in the event to where they are introducing the device, and it's all, with the space age cameras and the orbit and how they rotate the camera. It's like it's a full on production.
Mm-hmm.
Probably need to temper that down just a little bit. Need to level set and say, hey, ain't too much more we can do to these devices to make them spectacular. But at the same time, we do want to let you know this new thing. We've been working hard. We're proud of it. We want you to use it. We want you to try it. We want you to buy it. Here it is. They need to figure out that line, that level set line.
Maybe do like a little because they do their whole thing. Maybe do a nice little teaser video, a nice little commercial, and then say, hey, go to our website, and then have the individual people talk about what they would have talked about in the event, because this event was 90 minutes. And I'm going to be honest, and obviously I am a co-host of the Snobble West Show. I am a snobist. 90 minutes was too long. It was too long.
They could have cut out. They could have cut out the Apple Intelligence because we can't use it yet. Save that for a an announcement or whatever they want to do to hype up the fact that Apple Intelligence is now here. It's now available. Here's the devices. Yada yada. They could have cut that out. They could have cut
the Max, the AirPod. They could have just talked about the new AirPods 4.
Right.
And
they
left the other stuff off.
And they could have knocked off the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and just cut it down to we got a new color. Check it out. This is, we made it with this and that, and then keep it moving. Right. Yeah. So again, Apple is a great marketing machine, and I don't think they will be able to tone down their Apple events because that's what we are looking forward to. right?
But they're running out of stuff to talk about.
But they do need to level set a little bit, because every year they set us up for, oh, this is going to be the best thing ever. Well, reality, it's just a little bit better than before.
It's an incremental improvement.
Right.
It's a half step up even.
They need to acknowledge that and then
yeah.
adjust accordingly. So, we are not like, not I won't say let down, but we're kind of like, that's it. That's it. Apple needs to be like, all right, look, we're a company. We're trying to get better. We're incremental, yada, yada, yada. Here's the cool things. We hope you like it. Figure out that line between that and any other phone you got besides this, light it on fire, because it don't, it don't compete, come on.
Yeah.
Samsung and Google, they've got y'all number on a couple of things. So let's just keep it a buck and say, we know y'all love iPhones. We're going to make sure we do right by y'all. Here's the new joints. We hope you like them.
Right. It's until because I think one of Samsung's things was, let us know when it's foldable. You don't even have a foldable phone. You have a flip phone. I really wish people would stop talking about, you don't have a foldable. You have a hinge on the device. So it's not a foldable phone.
It's an actuating phone.
It is a flip phone. It is not a foldable. Stop saying it is. And stop making.
And I don't think Apple needs to go down that road, because the price that is going to, those phones from Samsung specifically, they're expensive. They're
expensive. And what I've noticed is, after a while, the wear and tear on the actual screen that folds, you have the hinge, but you have the malleable, like, actual screen. It starts to ripple and kind of bubble at the hinge point. So it doesn't even look that great after a while. Initially, sure, but after a while, not so much. So final things from its Glowtime event. Do you have any pre-orders in?
I do. Like I mentioned, I pre-ordered the Apple Watch Series 10 in the black titanium. But I am not sure what I'm going to do. And I just ordered that so I can have it on order, even though my order date's kind of slipped back to October. I'm not sure what I want to do between that and the Apple Watch Ultra 2. The only reason, let me not say the only reason. The main reason why I still kind of stay away from the Apple Watch Ultra 2, because I'll be honest, I do want the latest and greatest, but some of those features, like the exercise,
the maritime and like the submersion in water,
I would never, ever use a lot of those features, but every time I see somebody with one on,
you like the look.
I'm like, that's a nice looking watch. And I'm like, now that it's priced the same as the watch that I pre-ordered, what I'm probably going to do is, when I go pick up my other products at the Apple Store, I'm going to really I need to look at it. Because with the Apple Watch Series 10, the screen is bigger and the watch is slimmer. I like a slim profile watch, which is why I typically just get the Apple Watch regular, right? But the Apple Watch Ultra stands out so much. It's like, man, that is like, it's almost
you're
like
gonna have to try it on when you get to the store.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at it, and I'm gonna have to sit, and I may switch it up. But again, the Apple Watch Series 10, the screen is bigger, you get more screen real estate, and it's slimmer, is more. And so I'm torn between standout statement piece or every man's watch, every man's smartwatch, right?
Right.
So that's even though I've ordered the Apple Watch Series 10, I may walk out the store with the Ultra 2. But in addition to not being able to use all the features, I may not be able to use all the bands that I've accumulated over all the years.
Yeah, they're not going to work anymore.
Right. Then I'm at to start from scratch.
So start from scratch again.
Which ain't a major thing, but it's like I got so much variety with all these other watch bands I got.
I like my things.
Yeah. So those are the two things. The over index in the features and the lack of bands that I would have to start with may get me to say, nah, just stick with the Apple Watch Series 10. But it's every time I see somebody, and
It
apparently,
draws your attention.
and apparently, all the other people that I see on their arm, they ain't,
Uh-huh.
they ain't triathletes and
They regular
decathlons.
people.
They regular people working at Best
They're
Buy.
not
But
the
right.
outdoorsy people.
So who am I to, limit myself because of what I think I may or may not use, right?
Right. Right. So iPhone 16. Yay,
I'm
nay?
gonna stick with my normal thing and get the 16 Pro Max, and like I mentioned, in the black as well. You know what? I don't know. Well, yes, if I'm getting a black watch, then I'll probably get the black phone as well. Even though the natural look, the gray, I call it gray. Um, I don't know. I mean, I may try to switch up and do something different, but probably not.
Oh God. Creatures of habit.
Yeah. So I definitely want to put that button, the camera control button, to work. And again, it's the bigger screen, the smaller bezels. I definitely am looking forward to seeing how bigger screen I can get with the smaller bezels. So those are the two things.
So for me, I don't have them pre-ordered. I have them in my save because I'm still waffling. But the titanium Apple Watch Series 10 in gold, and the iPhone 16 Pro in desert. So the other reason why I haven't moved the phone into the pre-order yet, is because I was looking at my current phone. I have the 256 gig, and I'm at like 230 on my current phone.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I either need to clean off a bunch of the photos that I have on my phone and videos, clean off some of the unused apps, or I need to upgrade to the 512. So that's the only reason why I haven't moved it. I have probably until tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to either go through and clean off my phone, or say, screw it, I'll just pay the extra $100 or whatever to get the 512, or just get the 256 with what I currently have and then delete stuff later.
Right.
That's kind of my conundrum that I'm in. And my only other concern is, I know that the pre-orders for the watch started on Monday, and I don't know how far back my watch will be from my phone.
So my guess, my hope is, because my date has slipped back to October. Not maybe I say slipped back. By the time because like I mentioned, completely missed the event live, because normally I would have, as soon as the event was over, I'd have went and pre-ordered everything. But since I didn't, and I had to wait till later that night to order, my order dates is back to October sometime.
And that's just for the watch, because a pre-order for the phone is not until Friday.
It's not until Friday. So what I plan on doing, like I mentioned, was just put the October 8th through the October 15th. So a whole month back, right? So what I'm hoping is, my plan is pre-order the phone, select pick up in store. And then when I go pick up the phone, go look at the watches and get a watch that day, whether it be the Series 10 Titanium or the Ultra 2, and just pray
and
that
then cancel.
And then cancel my order that ships back in October. But that's all.
Smart.
That's all predicated on the store that I
if
go
it's
into.
Available.
If it's available.
Yeah. I may do that as well, because that was my only thing. Because I was like, I'm going to want all my things at the same time, because I'm impatient, and I'm going to want to set them all up at the same time and use them together. I do not want to wait. So that was my only kind of like, I don't know. So that's pretty much where I am.
And then again, with the AirPods, I have the AirPods Pro 2, and I cannot think of a reason why I need to get rid of my AirPods Pro 2. I thought about getting the USB-C case, but I never plug my AirPods up to charge. They're always on a Qi charger. They're always on a MagSafe charger. So I've never had a reason to I need to plug these up. I even got a travel Apple Watch charger that has a battery of its own. So if I know I'm going to be out and about all day long and I'm having my AirPods in, I'll take that, hook it on my belt loop, and then I use that, which it just sets on the. All that to say, the only thing I would consider is the USB-C case for the AirPods Pro 2.
Can you buy the case separately?
I think so. I think you can. To go from Lightning to USB-C, but I don't even use the Lightning port. So it's just like the case is scratched up, but it's like, I don't care. Do I care?
Yeah.
No, I don't care.
I mean, I washed mine, remember? So my port doesn't even work anymore. I have to use either a Qi charger or my Apple Watch charger. So I don't need my Pro 2s are fine. The only thing is the over the ears. And at this point, I'm not too compelled to buy them, especially with the color not going to exactly match my new watch and my new phone. So yeah, I think it's just the phone and the watch for me. I need to go ahead and put that stuff in probably tonight after we finish recording so that I can have that off of my to-do list. Well, that is going to wrap it up for the Lowdown, where we covered the It's Glowtime Apple event recap. We're going to skip the other segments from the show because we've talked about this a lot and it's taken up most of the show. But we do want to make sure we get in the hookup for our tech tip of the week, because if you are purchasing any new iPhone items from the It's Glowtime event, you're going to want to hear this hookup.
Yeah, I do this every year around this time, so ain't no sense of changing it up. Apple does offer the ability to set up your pre-order. Again, if you're listening to this show on Friday, pre-orders have probably already
It's too late.
But if you're a snobist Patreon supporter, you still have some time to actually go and configure your phone, decide whether or not you're going to do a trade-in, decide how you're going to pick it up. Are you going to pick it up from the Apple Store? Are you going to go to the Verizon or Sprint or AT&T? You can set all that up now, put it in your saved orders, and then when the actual pre-order starts, you don't have to do all that ahead of time, especially
just click a button.
Right. Just click a button. Because in my case, I'm doing the Apple Card installments.
Yep.
So I can get the cash back.
Give me my 3%. Thanks.
But they have to do some sort of authorization. The more steps you have to take at the time of the pre-order, who knows when you'll get your iPhone, especially if your
date might get pushed back.
Right. Especially if you want it launch day. So the idea is you go through this stuff now, put it in your saved or pre-order section. And then when the pre-order actually goes live, you just click a button, going back to what you was doing. Right. So that's my tip. Again, hopefully you all are either listening to this early enough, because I think we put out the show at 6 a.m. Eastern and the pre-order start at 8 a.m. Eastern. So
yeah, 2 hours
between what you're hearing right now and actually doing that. But, you know, I do it every year. So just want to remind folks, you can do that.
Yep. All right. That is going to wrap up the show for this week. Brother Tech, where can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me all over the internet at Brother Tech. That's BROTHATECH.
And you can find me at Tech Savvy Diva everywhere. To connect, to comment, to share, and to support our show, you can head on over to snobboyscast.com to get all of the details. And with that, we'll see you next week. Happy Apple shopping.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.